Support by the Hope Network Center for Autism. You can join us and be part of a mission that takes on the challenges, the barriers, the statistics, the seemingly impossible, and help us overcome them all. HopeNetwork.org/autism.
These deputies never know when the next outburst will happen.
When people get arrested, they're mad. We start invading their close personal space, they get even more angry.
Constantly in the line of fire, surrounded by drug addicts and the mentally ill. The only guarantee, violence will erupt.
We got no time for the games they play.
Hold up, man. Hold up, man. Take my cuffs off.
Ain't nobody talking to you.
This is where crime and punishment intersect. This is county jail.
Ready? Okay, stand up. Want to take your hand? Take these cuffs off? Oh, yeah.
9 p.m. Friday evening. The weekend's just beginning in Portland, Oregon, but it's no party at the Multnomah County Detention Center. The officers here are on the front lines, keeping dangerous criminals off the street.
When's the last time you shot up?
Counter, leave your hands on the counter, walk your feet back to the edge of the mat.
All right, you have a weapon, sharp objects, any drugs, any kind of program? Nope.
Everybody arrested in the city of Portland tonight will end up here to be booked, whether they like it or not.
You. Don't touch me! Don't touch me!
For deputies, that means facing off with arrestees who may be angry and aggressive, like this young woman, who allegedly assaulted her boyfriend and some total strangers during a drinking binge. The officer's challenge: get every arrestee under control.
It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. Don't touch me.
A hazardous job when so many offenders are not just violent, but drug addicted and mentally ill. Deputy Bledsoe is a 12-year veteran who often mans the booking counter, the first stop for intake and processing for all arrestees. Bledsoe's learned to expect anything.
Oh no, every night's different. You can't predict at the beginning of the shift how the night's going to go. I mean, we could use as a force, it could be a quiet night, we have no problems, and then sometimes we have to fill all these cells up back here.
Bledsoe will routinely see 100 individuals pass through here on a single day. This county jail is one of the busiest in the country, booking 45,000 people a year.
Just put your hands on the end of the counter, walk your feet back to the end of the mat, and spread them out.
Bledsoe and the other deputies need to be on constant alert, since all the arrestees wait for their mugshots and further processing in a big open space. It's like any other waiting room, except it's filled with people accused of everything from drunk driving to disorderly conduct to theft and assault. Surprisingly, they're not cuffed or restrained in any way. It's part of a policy intended to help reduce stress during booking. But over 2/3 of the arrestees are drug users. And many are high on crystal meth, a drug that can produce psychotic outbursts.
Hey, hold up, man. Hold up, man. Hold up.
One of them could blow at any time and attack an officer, as Shift Sergeant Gordon knows all too well.
The ultimate challenge for us is maintaining a certain level of safety and security because we don't have cages to put these people in. They're out in the open. They're out in an area where anything can happen at any time.
Sergeant Gordon and the deputies always go unarmed. That way, no weapon ever gets into the wrong hands. So all they have to protect themselves are their wits and a zero tolerance for any kind of resistance.
Okay, you can let go of my pants and I'll do it, but you gotta look. I'm not letting go now.
It's what keeps them safe from harm.
I'm here for a drinking in public ticket.
You need to turn around and be quiet.
I'm not gonna.
You're not
I'm here on a warrant for drinking in public. I drank a beer on the sidewalk.
Listen to what the hell I'm saying. You understand me? Yeah, you did wrong. You want to cooperate with us, sir, it's going to go bad. You understand?
Okay, I give up. I give up.
You going to
All
behave?
right, yeah, okay, okay.
I'm going to give you a chance to fail.
When people come to jail, when they get arrested, they're mad. When they come to jail, they're angrier. And when they come in here and we start invading their close personal space, they get even more angry. That booking counter is probably one of the most volatile places in the facility when it comes to physical encounters with an inmate. Because they're not happy about being here, they're high on a type of drug, they're intoxicated.
I drank a beer, sit on the sidewalk, and you treat me like this.
Due to Portland's heavy drug traffic, work has become increasingly intense for Sergeant Gorton and her deputies.
If you've got someone that's going to confront you, you end it. You end it fast. You control the threat and you put them in a secure place.
Every year, there are at least 10 serious attacks on officers, along with dozens of minor ones.
Been to the hospital in the last 24 hours, yeah.
So deputies can't afford to take any chances. Late in the evening, a belligerent arrestee puts Deputy Bledsoe immediately on guard.
Sharp on you? Yeah. What? My tongue. Your tongue?
Police arrested the man for disorderly conduct. Officers say he has a history of street fighting.
Where were you born?
I was born in a reservation.
When the handcuff comes off, push your hand flat on the counter. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
When the cuffs come off, the arrestee can easily lash out.
Reach down, take your shoes off, place them flat on the counter.
Yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir.
Take your watch off, place it on the counter.
Sir, yes, sir. There's a napkin there?
Well, sit in the back row, sir.
Any expression of defiance is considered a threat by the unarmed deputies. It could seriously undermine their authority.
Take your head off, stand behind the podium on your right.
Yes, sir.
The man gives Bledsoe some attitude.
What, bro?
It's a mistake the arrestee pays for, with a visit to one of the unit's 9 isolation cells.
We got no time for the games they play. He had a definite attitude. When he was walking down there, he wouldn't follow direction. He went and stood behind to get his picture taken, and he copped an attitude with me, and he just wouldn't cooperate. So we put him in ISO 4.
The 6 by 9 foot room is a stripped down version of a housing cell with a wooden bench and no bed. With so many volatile substance abusers coming in nearly every night, the jail's isolation cells are in constant use.
That's very common. We'll have like maybe, on a rough night, maybe 10 of these. More than that.
Whether they are cooperative or not, the detention center must deal with the constant flow of substance abusers. Booking is just the beginning. Heroin addict Paul Lyman knows the drill. Lyman says he's been here 32 times. Enough to know how to take his own fingerprints.
Actually, that was a pretty good print. You did yourself. All right, wash your hands.
Tonight, deputies book Lyman on a petty theft charge. He was stealing clothing to support his drug habit. Once he's processed, Lyman will be moved onto one of the upper floors of the detention center, where the housing cells are located. The 16-story high-rise in downtown Portland holds nearly 700 inmates, more than some state penitentiaries. Inmates are jailed here until their hearings or trials, or to serve sentences ranging from a few days to a full year. And it's seriously overcrowded, housing 25% more inmates than it was built for. The jail's 5 floors of cell blocks house a tricky mix of petty criminals, hardened felons, and the presumed innocent awaiting trial.
We have everything that a state penitentiary has. We have inmates that are in here from the state penitentiary awaiting trial. We have murderers, we have rapists, we have drug addicts, we have drug dealers.
Heroin addict Lyman will be the latest addition. But before he gets his cell, Lyman must undergo a strip search.
Green boots. Step into a green booth on the left, find your name hanging from one of those blue bags. Strip down naked. Okay?
Inmates often hide drugs and paraphernalia in clothing and body cavities.
You too, raise your arms in the air. Head forward, enhance your hair. Open your mouth, dentures, partials, anything come out. Nope, take your hand, lift your balls of penis, turn around. Bend over, spread your butt cheeks, and cough. You see your feet, look at your toes. Next one. Thank you. There you go.
As an addict, Lyman faces something far more harrowing than a strip search and a jail cell. Denied drugs, he'll go through withdrawal, a deeply wrenching, painful process. Withdrawal could do him serious physical harm.
I feel pretty crappy. It's gonna get a lot worse. We got about a week of like physical sickness, and then it starts to get better. And then like after a month, then you're starting to feel good.
With so many addicts coming through its doors, the detention center staffs an entire medical unit that specializes in treating substance abuse. The unit's goal tonight, keeping Lyman healthy. Staff nurse Topar will give Lyman a course of drugs called a protocol to counter the harmful effects of his withdrawal.
We have several protocols, but we have a very specific one for alcohol withdrawal. And then we have another one for people in opiate heroin withdrawal. It's very specific also. They're based on the fact that both of those withdrawals can be so harmful that we really need to push those drugs in order to prevent further damage to this person who's really suffering from it.
Down here to the left on the black line, stop at the corner.
Lyman is now ready to be transferred to the detention center's 6th floor, where his cell awaits. For now, he'll have nothing but a bed, a sink, and a toilet. And as an addict without his drugs, he's facing some long, hard days. A busy Friday night at the Multnomah County Detention Center in Portland, Oregon, is heating up as midnight approaches.
Been here before? No?
Shift Sergeant Gordon, a 10-year veteran of the facility, heads into the parking area to help her team. A new arrestee has just been brought in to be booked. Only he's unconscious from drinking.
He woke up and talked to us just fine for a while.
Hang on a second, catch it.
Gordon breaks out the smelling salts to revive the man.
¿Más? ¿No más? All right, come on out. Venga aquí. Mira, ¿tiene problemas los médicos? No. ¿Estás tomando medicina? Sí.
Nearby, trouble is brewing when another arrestee refuses to do as he's told.
Shut the up. I'm here. You know what? You need to knock it off right now. Why? Because I got nothing exactly why.
Gordon immediately takes control.
You just shut your mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Beat my tear me up.
Let me explain something to you. If you want to be treated with respect, you treat me with respect, treat my staff with respect, all right? We're going to treat you exactly the same way you treat us. Okay, when you come in here yelling and screaming, you're going to get a lot of negative attention. But they're just doing their jobs, okay?
He's just doing his job, I realize that.
You stay cool, I'll stay cool. If you rise back up again, I'm going to get angry again.
I won't.
All right.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
All right.
If you come in here and you're up here, it's our goal to get you down here so that we can get you through the booking process. I want to be able to show my staff it's easy to physically control somebody. It's a lot harder to verbally control somebody. Our goal is to verbally control them before we have to physically control them.
It's hard on officers like Sergeant Gordon and Deputy Bledsoe. They're unarmed, and words don't always work. Especially with more and more drug users coming in, bursting with hostility and rage.
He's moving faster, dog.
Like a man picked up on a theft charge at a local bus stop.
What's your name?
Don't worry about my name.
He's so antagonistic, Deputy Bledsoe suspects he's on methamphetamine, a highly potent form of speed.
Take my cuffs off, cuz.
Meth can cause psychotic outbursts, so Bledsoe and the other officers surround the arrestee to keep him from assaulting anyone.
Well, then be quiet.
Get off me, man! Man, don't touch me, man. Don't touch me, bro. Get off me, man.
They move him to an isolation cell and take the cuffs off. But he only becomes more aggressive.
Get down on your hands and knees.
I can't win. I can't win against all y'all, man.
You're right.
I can't, but I'll be out.
Put your hand under your belly.
I'll be out.
If you move,
Oh,
you
no,
will
I'll
be
be dead,
tased.
because I'm a black man.
As a precaution against a violent outburst, Deputy Bledsoe holds a taser, a 50,000-volt electro shotgun, on the arrestee. It's the only weapon at Bledsoe's disposal, and he only reaches for it when things turn ugly. But the officers control the situation without resorting to the taser. Fortunately for the deputies, not everyone acts out violently.
I scared myself.
About a third of the people arrested in Portland tonight will be charged with minor offenses, like trespassing and public drunkenness, and given a citation similar to a ticket.
Citations are here for identification purposes only. They have a little less patience than most people that come in here.
Many are first-timers, and they don't like being treated like criminals.
They're not familiar with the process because chances are they haven't been here before. And if they haven't been here before, then this whole process that they're going through is new to them, and they get very upset about that.
Surprisingly enough, a few people even willingly turn themselves in at the detention center. Tonight, it's Miranda Harris, a 28-year-old drug addict. To prevent being convicted on a cocaine possession charge, Harris recently entered a drug rehab program. But now, she's dropped out, and the court has issued a warrant for her arrest. She considers herself an addict, not a criminal.
You know, I'm an addict. That's not all I am. Though I might share a similar charge with someone else. Not being defined as an individual is the hardest thing about being here. This is not a place where I plan to stay or keep coming.
Though she came in tonight on her own, to deputies, she's just another arrestee. They'll do a contraband search, fingerprints.
Go ahead and wipe it off. Have a seat in the front row over there.
And mugshots.
Okay, go ahead and look straight up at the camera.
Harris is no stranger to the process. She's been here half a dozen times before. She has a 12-year-old daughter and real hopes for a better future. But the rehab program may have been her last chance to make good in the court's eyes. Now when she faces the judge, he could let her drug conviction stand, and she could do serious jail time. Harris will be held for the whole weekend in a housing cell on one of the building's upper floors until her Monday court date.
Okay, ladies, follow that black line down to the red line.
Harris's last stop before a cell, a strip search, and a new set of clothes.
Okay, this is a strip search, so everything comes off, everything goes in the bag.
We get pat down even here. Just being naked, circumstances are shameful, and therefore brings about the feelings of violation. It really sucks. It really sucks. And having to turn around and spread your cheeks and squat and cough.
All right, ladies, load up.
Unless Harris can convince the court to let her take one more shot at rehab, she may be marked for life as a convicted felon.
Okay, you take your hat off and your sunglasses.
Sunday, Multnomah Detention Center in downtown Portland, Oregon. Here, the action never stops. While new arrivals are booked and processed in the basement area, several floors above, nearly 700 people are incarcerated, either awaiting court dates or doing up to a year of jail time.
503. It's Portland, Oregon, baby, Multnomah County.
The jail is filled beyond capacity, so maintaining control and preventing violence is the first priority. To manage the flow of inmates, 5 floors of cell blocks are divided into small housing units, all monitored by a central command 24/7 with 100 cameras. Safety is paramount, so everyone is locked down 22 hours a day, more than in many state pens. Over half the inmates are drug abusers, and their behavior is often unpredictable. In the 6th floor men's unit, the staff distributes medication. For heroin addicts like Paul Lyman, it's a huge help in dealing with their withdrawal from the drug. If Lyman can kick heroin, he may stop shoplifting to support his habit and no longer be a costly burden to the county.
Once I've realized that I'm gonna have to come to jail, it makes the kicking quite a bit easier than if I'm trying to do it outside somewhere where I would have access to be able to go get drugs if I needed to.
Time for meds, sir.
They have the protocol that the nurses give you every day. That contains Librium, clonidine. That helps quite a bit.
Still, it's not easy.
I'm just also having the physical withdrawal symptoms of you know, the chills, hot and cold flashes, sweating, nausea, diarrhea, you know, all the just horrible funk that goes with it.
It's not clear that Lyman really wants to stop using heroin. After a couple of days without drugs, he's already showing signs of agitation.
Doom and gloom is what I call it. Yeah. I'm staring at these ugly walls here. This ugly yellow puke color with the scrawlings from retarded freaks like me, you know, just scrawling stupid on the walls. And I'm sitting here staring at it 24 hours a day. And it's horrible, it really is. That's one thing I really dislike about this whole thing is having to sit in here, that's for sure.
If Lyman can commit himself to quitting, he stands a chance of staying clean on the streets. The detention center works with local agencies to help addicts from relapsing after they get out.
Go directly from jail right into a program instead of out right onto the street and then where you have more of a chance of relapsing.
Outside programs may be the only way to break inmates' costly cycle of drug abuse and crime.
We have a limited amount of money to spend on the very expensive medications that they require. We don't have the staff to probably provide all the services they need, so it just goes on and on.
Without continued help, many addicts only get worse. Nurse Topar often sees users who are also suffering from another problem: mental illness.
You often see what we call dual diagnosis people here, and it might be even triple diagnosis. There are people that have mental illness that use drugs and alcohol to treat their mental illness on the street. A lot of those medicines don't make people that have mental illness feel well. They cause incredible psychiatric-like symptoms. Then you don't know if you have the chicken or the egg. You know, you don't know if the person was mentally ill and they use the methamphetamine to make them feel better, or the other way around.
Mental illness and drugs. It's a combination pretty much guaranteed to make life difficult for officers and everybody else.
What did I do to get in trouble this time? I'm sleeping.
Sleeping. You gotta quit running in and out of buildings, scaring people.
Take another shirt off.
Tonight, a probation officer brings in an aggressive meth user, too violent for the local hospital.
We're gonna walk you over here. We just have you sit down for a minute. Hey, just for a minute.
I don't want to tell you for a minute. I'll tell you my eye up in there.
Go ahead and have a seat.
Their psych ward called me and told me to come get him because they couldn't handle him. He was being like this, so uncontrollable that they couldn't even get to him and administer sedatives.
State budget cuts forced many of Portland's mental health facilities to close.
Guys like Jay slip through the cracks because he's borderline. He's bipolar. Mostly it's methamphetamine psychosis, which I believe is the result of all of his problems. It's when he uses, he gets like this.
Now, for better or worse, county jail becomes the local mental hospital.
I'm going to recommend 45 days because of this behavior. It'll be here most definitely because he'll be on the, he'll be getting psychiatric care here.
Why are you pounding on the door?
We got a lot to go, why don't you listen?
Inmates like this can pose a threat to everyone. All staff can do is control their violence and stabilize them with medication.
We're a jail, we're not a hospital, so it's definitely not a primo environment for people with mental illness.
When the mentally ill go completely out of control, they are housed here, cell block 4D, the psych ward. It's home to the 10 most extreme cases of mental illness on any given night.
You need to pull yourself under control, okay?
Tonight, Deputy Bledsoe works the unit alone. It's his job to make sure that none of the inmates in the unit harm anybody, including themselves.
You got to read these people. Sometimes they'll be fine in 1 minute, and next minute they'll just snap, and they'll be on you. Very assaultive. The majority of your staff assaults occur in this unit.
For safety, the cell doors are kept closed at mealtime. Bledsoe serves their trays through a narrow food port.
Hot tray. There you go, man. Enjoy.
And when it's time to hand out medication, he escorts the nurse to discourage inmates from acting out.
Most of them refuse to take medication. They're the feces eaters, the flutters, the ones that are really combative, the ones that are way out there. And we can't force medicate them, so this is where they go.
The inmates who hurt themselves pose the biggest challenge.
I remember when you came in, I booked you in.
Bledsoe is worried about an inmate who says he's bipolar.
Oh. All this for no breakfast, huh?
Parish George claims he didn't receive his breakfast this morning. He's been eating his feces ever since. Bledsoe calls the shift sergeant and asks for a deputy to be posted outside George's cell. His job? Prevent the inmate from doing more harm to himself.
His assignment is suicide watch. He'll just sit there and check on him every 15 minutes until it's a constant watch.
All the deputies can do now is wait and watch. But most inmates don't harm themselves. They're actually afraid of being assaulted by other, more violent inmates.
There's always a chance that you come out this door that you're going to be confronted. There's always a threat of violence. Whether you're going out to use the phones, whether you're getting your meal, whether you're going to rec, it's always a possibility. Ain't nobody talking to you. You heard what I said. I mean, I'm not a troublemaker. I just keep it simple. I don't really start trouble and stuff, but I do defend myself.
Drug addict Miranda Harris is only going to be here for another day, until her court date. But that already seems too long to wait.
I could deal with isolation. I can deal with the nasty food. I can deal with all of that. It's what it represents that's driving me crazy.
Harris says she was a paralegal student until she got busted for possession of cocaine. Now, she's an inmate sharing a cell the size of a bathroom with a woman whose crimes she doesn't even know. Their only activities? Sleeping, reading, and some daily recreation.
Hey, dinner time, ladies. Want to open up your door? Why don't you come out and get your trays?
At chow time, Harris has 15 minutes to eat.
We had greens, we had this one piece of meat, and this a piece of cake. I miss my vegetables. The food still sucks, and nobody's heard of salt and pepper here. Yeah, this is gross.
Tomorrow morning, Harris will ask the judge to let her return to rehab, even though she's already dropped out several times. She couldn't handle the program's strict rules before, but she wants one more shot.
I'm trying to avoid prison. You know, if I'm terminated from this program, I wind up on probation, I have to do more jail time. And really, I'm not even concerned about that as it is keeping a felony on my record. Having a felony on my record, I can't deal with that. I can't deal with that, and that disturbs my goals to finish my paralegal studies.
If she can't convince the court she's ready to build a better life for herself and her daughter, her future may be behind bars. The graveyard shift on Sunday night at Portland's Multnomah County Detention Center. It's been so busy that there are too many new inmates for too few cells. The waiting room and the jail are filled to bursting. And Shift Sergeant Gordon is about to do something that does not come naturally. Let some inmates go.
All right, the count is 673 in the building. We've ordered a matrix list. Once we release those people, we have no more room. We're gonna go over our count.
To the left?
So if we go over count, we go over count. There's nothing we can do about it. We've released everybody that we can release that's not gonna be a danger to society.
Everybody
Overcrowding forces Gordon to actually release arrestees right back onto the street. It happens so often that the jail has developed a system to deal with it. It's called matrixing, and it helps officers determine which inmates pose the least threat to public safety. Every crime is given a number, the highest number for murder, the lowest for minor offenses like trespassing. The inmates with the lowest numbers get out first.
The least severe go first, and that's the minimal, people that are in here for trespassing and drinking in public and driving under the influence that might be in here on a parole or probation violation.
Most drug possession charges are nonviolent, so users are often among the first released.
All right, guys, run up on the left-hand side of the wall, stop by the yard.
Tonight, Sergeant Robinson selects 12 inmates to be freed.
A lot of these are drug charges. Possession of meth, heroin, meth, possession of cocaine. And all those crimes, basically the people support their habits by victimizing other people, by stealing and shoplifting and burglary and car theft.
For deputies who risk their lives to prevent the spread of crime, letting inmates back out is hard to accept.
It's a bad situation. We've been in a budget crisis for 11 years, as long as I've been here. You know, it's sad to say, but, we try to release the ones that we feel are, the least problem to the community, but these are the ones that are going to go out and commit the crimes that are going to affect me, because I live in Multnomah County, and just the average citizen by taking their possessions and breaking into their cars and whatnot.
Second door on the right with glass on it.
Deputies wait until just after midnight, when the jail is at its fullest.
There you go.
Then, they notify the inmates minutes before their release. No inmate is sorry to leave.
I was laying in bed and the officer came by, tapped me on the shoulder. First thing he said, "You're not dreaming." I said, "What's them up?" He said, "Roll up, you're going home." And here I am.
They got a 23-hour lockdown here at the Justice Center, which is kind of unhumane, so crazy.
MCDC, it's got to come down. They got to get rid of this jail.
They keep bringing them in and we don't have a place to put them. The county continues to cut our budget. Public safety is not high on anybody's list, it seems, anymore. Unfortunately, because of that, we have to let these offenders back out into the public where they're more apt to reoffend. We've let people out and 2 hours later they're back. How you doing?
How you doing?
All right. Let me guess, you didn't have any shoes last time you left, did you?
No, I had some. Someone walked away with them.
For some of the inmates who remain incarcerated, it hasn't been such a good night. In the jail's psych ward, inmate Parrish George has had another psychotic episode. 2 days ago, George was eating his feces. Now, he's cut his wrist with a food utensil. Acting Sergeant Phelps found George before he could seriously hurt himself.
I got the spork away from him. That's what he was cutting his wrist with. He's definitely going to be going on suicide watch.
Since his jail clothes could be fashioned into a noose, George is put in a suicide smock. It's made of anti-rip material.
And Max had the worker come down and bag up his stuff, make sure he wears gloves, because I don't know where blood got. I don't think he's bleeding that much, but I'd rather have him do it than you.
Now Sergeant Phelps needs to get George out of the unit while they clean up the blood and mess in his cell. Phelps cuffs George and leads him out, but he's angry.
Kill yourself, you piece of shit. You don't got no balls, da-da-da-da-da. Pisses me off.
Sergeant Phelps watches the troubled inmate closely. Even cuffed, he could still attack the officer. Phelps wants to get him into a new cell as soon as he can. But there's a problem. If Phelps puts him in a cell with a double bunk, George could fling himself off the top.
Because there's bunks and, when you're into self-destructing behavior, I can't have you jumping off a bunk to hurt yourself. So there's going to be somewhere where there's, just one bunk there. I do appreciate being cooperative.
Phelps manages to find a single bunk cell in the overcrowded jail.
All right. Come on through here, Mr. George. Get you out of those handcuffs. Get you some quiet here.
With George in a brand new cell, Phelps can bring medical up to treat him. Medical may be able to calm George and keep him from killing himself. Inmate Miranda Harris isn't mentally ill, but she's seriously stressed out. Today is judgment day for the 28-year-old drug addict. She goes to court across the street to plead for readmission to drug rehab. If she wins, she can leave jail immediately.
So I will talk to my lawyer about getting released today, and then from there, family.
But if the judge rules against her, she's looking at a felony conviction, which could prevent her from getting a decent job in the future.
Do I still have Judge Marshall's court at 1:30?
I believe so. I'm not for sure, but
So,
we'll see when we get there.
Okay. So, morning. How are you? All right, yourself?
Before Harris goes to court, a deputy pats her down for contraband.
Turn around, face the wall.
To be safe, another deputy shackles her. Waist chain, handcuffs, and leg irons. The court has seen more than a few inmates flip out. A third deputy escorts her into the courtroom.
Okay, who's next, Mr. Steele?
Miranda Harris.
All right.
How you doing, Your Honor?
Good, how are you?
Blessed.
What we know, Ms. Harris, is that you were on a last chance basis here since
Getting back into rehab may be harder than Harris expects. The judge makes decisions based on hard facts, not sympathy. And Harris has dropped out more than once. Last time, the judge told her it was her last chance.
All right, Ms. Harris. We did put you on a last chance basis back in February 20th, and told you that we could not have any more failures to appear in court.
Yes, sir.
And unfortunately, that's what we had happen.
Well, Your Honor, Ms. Harris's decision to leave has made the state's ability to support her remaining in this program very, very difficult.
The prosecutor wants her out of the program.
She definitely needs treatment, but the meaning of last chance bears little meaning at all if we continue to give her another chance in this program. And I'm afraid I cannot support at this time her remaining in the STOP program. We're going to see
Harris makes one final plea.
But I'm 28. I don't want the felony on my record. I want to go back eventually to study paralegal, and it'll make it very difficult.
She wants to go back into residential treatment. We're asking, Your Honor, that you do extend the last chance, because she has been making these efforts, that you allow her to remain in the program, Your Honor.
The jail's crowded, but the drug treatment program is even more in demand.
I don't disagree that she needs residential treatment. That is painfully obvious. I've got 385 other people in this program that need that bed. There are 600 people in Multnomah County on any given day that need residential treatment. And she walked away from it and got a third warrant. And given all of that, I must ask that she be terminated from the program.
Now, it's up to Judge Marshall to decide Harris's future.
I really don't want to be terminated from the program.
And Your Honor, I have...
If the Multnomah County Court allows addict Miranda Harris back into the Stop Drug program, she can dodge a felony conviction and go home. The alternative isn't pretty. More jail time. Harris waits for Judge Marshall's ruling.
And unfortunately, we are going to have to terminate you from the STOP program. And we had back...
The judge kicks her out of the program.
For dates now.
Harris now faces the drug charge that originally brought her to court.
Back in January of this year, we did have you do a guilty plea to 1 count of unlawful possession of cocaine. We're going to go ahead and enter in a judgment of conviction on that count.
Harris leaves the courtroom, a convicted criminal.
Good luck to you, Ms. Harris.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The judge orders her back to jail for a 10-day sentence. After that, 18 months probation. If Harris gets busted for drugs again, she gets an automatic 6 months in jail.
There's like a felony on my record.
As a convicted felon, she may be marked for the rest of her life. The system demands a substantial price from Miranda Harris, but it gives inmate Parish George a second chance. As Deputy Bledsoe soon discovers, the medical staff has done wonders with George.
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm doing lovely.
Good.
Fantastic.
Okay, these are crushed.
All right, that's cool.
They've adjusted his medication to prevent his extreme highs and lows.
Sometimes I'm right in the middle like now, but sometimes I can't help myself to react the way I do and talk the way I do and stuff like that. I was just, so upset that, I was just going off the wall about, just everything.
Oh, yeah. Psych. All right, man.
This is a cool deputy right here.
I feel like my bipolar is intensifying the older I get, and I'm trying to work with the doctors here to get the right medication for me, and it seems like it's working because, as of lately, my behavior's been exceptional and I'm doing good.
George knows it's always going to be a balancing act for him, but he's hopeful he can keep things on track.
Just trying to ease my mind and just hopefully, because I'm smart, got potential. Before I was sent here, I was going to college for cosmetology and got an album out in stores. So I'm just trying to keep focused and just, just do what's right.
If George continues to improve, Deputy Bledsoe will move him out of 4D into general population. The detention center has no shortage of mentally ill inmates, so an empty cell in the psych ward would be welcome. Downstairs in booking, the daily parade of arrestees never stops for officers like Deputy Bledsoe and Sergeant Gordon.
Hands on the counter. Leave your hands on the counter.
They're ready to say goodbye to two inmates, Paul Lyman and Miranda Harris.
God is off the damn food chain.
Harris has completed her sentence. Now she's got less than 24 hours to register with her probation officer, or she'll be in trouble.
God, I thought enough to get a fuck.
Next comes weekly visits with the PO and random drug tests for 18 months.
Hey man, do you have a light?
One slip-up, and Harris will be right back in county jail. It's happened to her before.
Okay. And I gotta put these things back on?
Exactly. Yeah. All of your jail clothes, including the shoes, this bin right here.
All right.
The overcrowded detention center releases Paul Lyman early to make room for more dangerous criminals.
Lose a little weight?
No, they're just big on purpose.
No.
Paul's been clean of heroin during his short stay in jail. But putting on his street clothes reminds Lyman of bad habits.
See, I have these oversized cords so I can put Levi's on underneath when I go to the store. What I do is I grab 8, 10 pairs of Levi's and get in the dressing room, and I have some pliers in there, and I break the little sensors off, and then I put them on and I wear them out, and I just walk out.
Then he sells the jeans to pay for the drugs.
Well, it's been working for a lot of years for me.